Hey everyone, this is Kit Pang. I hope that you are doing well today. This is Kit from Boston Speaks, your speaker coach, and welcome to How to Land Your First 3 Paid Speaking Engagements. So just to get into it, here's what we will be covering today. Discover the 5 revenue models for speakers, the most common rookie mistakes that individuals should avoid when entering the speaking business, the #1 secret to becoming a paid speaker, what event organizers are looking for, and a little blueprint to help you get started along the way. I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Catherine Storing. She's a TEDx speaker, acclaimed keynote speaker. I just want her to hop on screen really quickly.
Hi.
And if you have any questions, feel free to type into the chat.
Yes.
If you did not subscribe yet to our Boston Speaks YouTube channel, please do. We have a lot of videos to help you on your communication and public speaking skills. But since Kat is here with us for a few seconds, she has on your communication and public speaking skills. But since Kat is here with us for a few seconds, she has spoken at a bunch of different conferences, events, getting paid. We were just doing a workshop today.
Yeah.
So before you leave today, if you had to share a secret of how to become a paid speaker, what would you say?
Oh, that's good. So I would say start speaking. Like, let people see you speak. That's huge. The more you do it, especially on social media, that's the place where people actually have found me the most for speaking. They see that you're doing it. And then let people know that you actually charge. Like, I wish I have done that earlier. You have to let people know I am a paid speaker, because people love free speakers, right? But once you tell them I'm a paid speaker, all of a sudden they'll pay you. And most of the time that is a budget.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I wish I known that, because you don't have to. You don't know what they're gonna pay other people. So sometimes you might say, I'll do that for $1,000, and their budget is $5,000. So if you have learned what their budget was, and your price is less, and the budget is higher, that's your rate, their budget.
You were telling me earlier you landed a client on YouTube, and he hasn't even met you in real life.
Right. So just doing a very short video is not produced. I didn't have like a cameraman or anybody. That was me on camera in my home office. I did a video about what I do, and I added value. So that's one thing that most people don't understand, that you don't have to just pitch yourself. I do paid public speaking. You can actually add value. So in the video, I didn't pitch myself. I just share as an expert. So I position myself as an expert. This is who I am. This is what I do. And let me teach you these 3 things. Boom, boom, boom. And I kept it really informational, very low key. Somebody months and months later watched it, contacted me, went to my website, connected on my calendar, and the rest is history. Now he's a paid client.
Wow. Oh, since we're still waiting for people to pop on into this live video, so if you're watching the replay, you can fast forward a little bit to get into the content, but don't miss out. There's good content now. So when you got started, did you have any questions about speaking?
Everything. I knew nothing. I didn't have a speaker sheet. I don't know what that. I didn't know what that was. Right? What's a speaker? Do I need one? I didn't know how to sell from the stage. I wish I had known, because you get so excited about speaking that you're just happy that they'll have you. You don't even think about how do you connect? How do you collect email addresses? How do you drive people to, like, you're so good at that. You drive people to your social media all the time. I never did that. Today I did it. People were taking pictures. They were writing it down because I told them. They liked my content. So you got to tell the audience what to do. I had so many questions.
Wow. So if you have any questions right now, type them in the chat so we know any. So where can people find out about you?
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm an Instagram girl all the way. Under Writing Made Simple. I'm on this chat. So even though I have to run, I will check this chat. So definitely just type @Cat Storing or Cat, and I will come back and read it. Any questions about, even though I talk about writing, I used to be a personal stylist. So your clothes matter. It's a huge thing on that. So if you have any questions on that, for sure, hit me up on that. But Instagram, Writing Made Simple, or Cat Storing, you'll find me either way. I share a lot of content and a lot of resources about writing and finding your authentic voice, which is what I talk about today.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kat.
Thank you.
Can you hand me that marker? I just want to test if the writing will go backwards. So hey everyone, welcome to How to Land Your First 3 Paid Speaking Engagements. I will be using this board, but I'm going to test it out to see if it's going to go backwards. Is it going backwards on the screen?
No, it's perfect.
Oh, perfect?
Yeah. Good, but you're behind it. Yeah.
Okay, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. If it's perfect, if you do not know how to chat in the chat box, I usually like to make this very interactive. So learn how to chat in the chat box, because this is, even though this is YouTube Live, for the people that's tuning in right now, be very selfish. Ask the questions that you need to know how to get to your next level. So let's go into it. How to land your first 3 paid speaking engagements. When I first started, I had so many questions about, well, how you know, when I saw people getting booked and paid to speak, how were they landing on panels? I had no clue what to do. Just a little bit about myself. I actually used to be, you ever seen those people out on the street performing? I used to be a hip hop street performer, and I'll do my dance moves, right? And I was teaching dance. I was a choreographer for 12 years, but my passion in dance was dying down. And when my passion in dance was dying down, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, how the heck are people getting booked and paid to speak? I had a message. I loved public speaking. I was still shy, but I loved public speaking, but I did not know what to ask. I didn't know what to do. It's so very, what's the word? It's very unclear when you first begin something. But of course, when you dive into the topic, you know a lot more. So today, I really hope that I can broaden your mindset. So even if you have been a paid speaker or you're just starting out, I hope that you're tuning into this to get some insights. So no matter if you're an entrepreneur, you're a small business owner, you are a CEO of a big company, you need to know how to speak to get your branding out there. You need to know how to position yourself as a go-to expert. So one of my first questions when I first started out speaking, and I only started speaking, I started my business in Boston Speaks. It was October in 2016. So here's the thing. It's only been a year and a half for me. I've landed speaking opportunities at places like Remax, Dell, gave a TEDx talk, spoken at Inbound, spoken at a lot of different conferences. So the first thing I had on my mind was, do you need to become an expert to get booked and paid to speak, right? I'm sure we all felt that way before. Imposter syndrome. Well, here's the thing. If you feel that way right now, if you feel like you are not an expert, think of it this way. If you are a 6th grader, you will become an expert to the 3rd grader. You don't have to be college student level. If you're a college student level, you might be too out there to even know how to relate to a 3rd grader. So if you are a 6th grader, you are an expert to the 3rd grader. So as a speaker, the most important thing you have to understand is, do you know how to position yourself? So how do you actually get paid to speak? And I want to give you 5 different ways people can get paid to speak. And here's the first one. And as I write this down, the first one is you can become a full-time or a part-time speaker. So what does that mean? A full-time or a part-time speaker. That means you are the business. You have to do the transactions. You have to do the website. You have to do the marketing. You have to do the phone calls. You are the business. As a full-time or part-time speaker, do you know how to handle every side of the business, from making your website, from contacting your clients, to prospective leads, to building out your program? Or you can hire people to do that for you, but you are doing everything yourself. So what does being a full-time or part-time speaker actually means? And I'm going to break this down in a few different parts. One is you can become a keynote speaker. So people who are giving keynote speeches, if you know of anyone, you might think of, let's say, Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Barack Obama, or whoever they are. People pay keynote speakers because they can do one thing very well. They can put butts in seats, okay? People pay keynote speakers because most people know who they are. And if you go to any conference, there's usually a few keynote speakers that will say, wow, I really want to go to that event because that keynote speaker is speaking. So for example, I will be speaking at Inbound in 2018. My good friend and I, Kat, was looking at the Inbound website earlier, and she said, Kit, who are these speakers that are going to be speaking? We saw 3-4 big names. We actually knew just one of them, right? And then they had 100 other speakers. Most people usually go to conferences or any main event because they want to go for that keynote speaker. But here's the thing. What if you're not as known as, like a Gary Vaynerchuk or just a big name, Tony Robbins, or whoever it is that you know? Also, being a keynote speaker in your niche is so important. So that means if you are into marketing, there are people that you know that I might not know. So if you are into knitting, if you are into cooking, there are people in your niche who has made a name for themselves that usually people outside of their industry, we have no clue who they are. But in your industry, you're like, wow, that's the top person that I have to see because they know so much about my topic in my industry. So being a full-time or part-time speaker, do you know how to position yourself as an expert, as the go-to person in your niche? Okay. You can also branch that under keynote speaker. A second way, under this umbrella of full-time and part-time speaking, you can be a conference speaker. Here's the thing about conference speaking. Usually what I just said earlier, people go to conferences or any events because there's a big name. When you are a conference speaker, mostly you will speak for free. Do you know why? If I am organizing an event, I can get 100 other people that will speak for free and give a breakout session. But the good thing is you can learn how to promote yourself by doing a breakout session. So you can be a conference breakout speaker or conference speaker, teaching breakouts, doing little sessions. If you are on your path to becoming a keynote speaker because you want to build your authority as you go along. So for example, if you are in Boston right now, one good way to see what kind of conferences are coming up and to look for speaking engagements, you can go to the Boston Convention website, for example. If you go to the Boston Convention website, no matter what state you're in the world, if you go to the main convention center, if you are in Boston now, or if you're not in Boston, check this out. Go on Google, put in Boston Convention Center. And here's the thing. Do you know what they do? They list out all of the events that they have booked from now till maybe next year. So you can go down that list and see what conferences are in your industry. And after you see the conferences in your industry, what do? You look up and you go into that website and you see, is there a call for speakers, or can I contact someone to speak at that conference? And if you are an event organizer, or if you want to, become a paid speaker, you have to know how to get into the mindset of being an event organizer. They are always looking for speakers. So feel free to, if they don't have a call for speaker, hunt for the email and email them and shoot them over your information, your business card, your website, anything about you as a speaker. And again, this is live right now. If you guys have any questions at all, type them in the comments. I hope I can answer it. So number one is different revenue models for speakers. You can become a full-time or part-time speaker. We just covered being a keynote speaker, being a conference speaker. One more thing for you. You have to know how to be a platform speaker. So people, for example, like Tony Robbins, he is considered a platform speaker because they are great at selling on the stage and from the stage. Here's the thing. If you are a keynote speaker, usually people will pay you because of your name. They will give you a check and say, here is $50,000. Just go speak for an hour. Now, you get the money already. You don't really have to sell on stage. You might be there to sign your books, but you don't really have to sell. So for example, I'm not sure if you have seen these events before. There are a bunch of free events, let's say real estate events going on in Boston. 1 day free real estate event from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a free event. Learn how to invest in real estate. You go there, what do? They will sell you from the stage. They will sell their products to you. They will sell their boot camps. They will sell their services, because what they are so good at, even if you talk about this in an online way, right? Think of webinars. You go to a webinar for free, and then at the end, they will sell you their products or their 6-week course or whatever it is. They are great at selling from the stage. Now, if you are really good at selling from the stage, that is even more profitable sometimes than being paid as a keynote speaker. So for example, if you host an event in Boston, you get 100 people there. You get 2 people to buy into your, let's say, 25,000 products. That could make your whole year. After you go to Boston, you can go to New York. After New York, you can go to Chicago. And sometimes there are people that puts on conferences. Let's say there was a a seminar called the Get Motivated seminar. There were people like Les Brown, other great speakers up there. And you know what they do as event organizers? As an event organizer, they would have all these, let's say 10 speakers, and it would be a 50-50 revenue split. So if Les Brown or if you came on there and you had a program to sell, the event organizer will get 50% of your profits and you keep 50% of the profit that you made. So the event organizer organizes all of the events throughout, let's say, United States, Boston, Chicago. And what you have to do is you travel along with them and you get to make money as you sell from the stage while you give 50% of your profits to the event organizer. So what did we just cover? As a full-time or part-time speaker, that's one way to make revenue. Think of a real estate agent. You can become a full-time or part-time real estate agent. Yes, you can do something along the side too. So we cover being a keynote speaker, speaking at conferences, and knowing how to sell from the stage. Now, this can translate into an online and offline model, but I'm just going to keep it very generic right now. So number 2, how can you get paid as a speaker? Hey, if you guys are liking what I'm saying right now, let me know in the comments, or you can press like, or you can subscribe for more information like this. The second way you can get paid as a speaker is you are a salary-based speaker. So you are not doing this full-time, you are not doing this part-time, but you join an organization that will pay you to speak. So what do I mean by that? So for example, there's a lot of nonprofit organizations out there. They help people with mental, let's say the topic is mental illness. They have programs, and what they are looking for, they're looking for people with great stories. They want to hire you, and let's say they pay you $40,000 a year to go out there and teach their program based off of your story, but they have the curriculum, right? So there's organizations like high school organizations. They will book you throughout the United States to go into high schools and to speak about anti-bullying, let's say. They have the curriculum. They just need to find and train good speakers. So if you want to become a speaker, but you don't want to do it on your own yet, how can you join an organization like this? They have the curriculum. They have the training. So if you want to learn how to speak, and if you want to learn how the speaking world works, join something like that first so you can get your feet wet and you can see what goes on in the industry. So you can be a salary-based speaker. The other thing is you also can think of this as a trainer. We're going to go into this too, but you can join organizations that has leadership components. They will give you the curriculum. You just have to teach their leadership material. You can become the speaker, but you teach their material. So think of it that way. As a full-time or part-time speaker, you are doing everything. You are creating your own content. If you are a salary-based speaker, again, it's like a job. They will pay you for carrying out the job description. The third way you can get paid as a speaker is to be a trainer or a seminar leader. So think about it this way. If you are a keynote speaker or if you speak to sell, sometimes people pay these keynote speakers to give them good insights, okay? The difference between a trainer and a keynote speaker is a trainer would do more of what I'm doing now. You see how I'm going down to the nitty-gritties? If you see Barack Obama, you know he will not be on the board and say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's my 9 steps towards freedom. Here's what you have to do. Here's a trainer, you go down to the nitty-gritties, and as a keynote speaker, you want to give those insights. People will be on the phone, they're like, wow, this is so good, I'm going to tweet that out. I'm not saying you can still be motivational as a trainer or a seminar leader, but you inspire them through the content and how you really deliver that educational piece. A keynote speaker, people will want to see them because they have that celebrity status, right? Of course, they have that knowledge piece too, but they're like, wow, I'm going to pay just to see this person. This person is on the top of my field as a trainer. So for example, I used to work at a leadership company, and every single year they would bring in different people training us on leadership. And this one year, they brought in people from Disney, the Disney leadership experience. They had two guys, and these people would host a 2 day leadership seminar from Disney, and we had notebooks. And we were taking down notes. We had to split up in groups, and we were doing all X, Y, and Z for 2 days. They were bringing someone different. So think about it this way: as a speaker, you can speak, you can train. Do you have what you need to do so people can book you? I want to talk about this before I go into the fourth way of getting revenue. If you are a speaker, think of yourself as a restaurant, okay? Would you open a restaurant if you had no food to sell? I don't think so, right? If you were to open a restaurant, would you market your restaurant with no number ones, no number twos, here's the combo? Usually people will not do that if they open a restaurant. But as entrepreneurs, as a CEO, as a business professional, most people, we get into speaking and we're just trying to promote us, but we have no products to sell. So as a speaker, what products, what services are you actually selling? Or are you just saying, hey, come see me, I'm Kit. And they're going to say, Kit, well, how can you help us, right? You really have to discover if you're McDonald's, you're number one, you're number two, you're number three. Same thing as a speaker, same thing as a trainer. Do you have your number one? Do you have your speaking title in your program? Do you have your number two? Here's a 2-day boot camp. Do you have your number three? So people can say, wow, I love this person. I heard this person speak. Now this is what I can buy from that person. So think of that again. If you were starting your own restaurant, would you want people walking into the door if you have no food to sell? Okay, think about it that way. So that goes on to number 4. How can you get paid as a speaker? You want to sell your products. So your products can be your books, your DVD, your 6-week programs, your services. Think of it that way, okay? Your online audio books or whatever it is. As a speaker, you need to know how to make multiple streams of revenue. Think of it this way. Most of the people that you are following online, do they have multiple streams of revenue? I guarantee you that they do. They have a book, they have an audio book, they have a 6-week program, they have an online course, they have coaching services. So as a speaker, not only do you have your speaking programs, but what else in addition can you make to give you income? So the 5th way, what do you think? So type in the chat, what do you think is the 5th way to generate revenue as a speaker? The 5th way is your coaching and your services. So if you were to talk to me, so for example, I do speak on communication and I do teach on public speaking, but I also do one-on-one coaching. I also consult. If you want to become a paid speaker, we can work together. So for example, we can work together to build your strategy. So as a speaker, right, if you are a speaker, no matter if you are a speaker on, say, cooking, you can be a keynote speaker on cooking. You can speak about the latest cooking technique. Okay, you can train people on how to cook your technique. You can have your products, your books, your DVDs, whatever you want to sell, your classes, and you can have one-on-one coaching. So if I wanted to be the next best chef in America, I would be contacting you and I say, hey, can you coach me? How did you become the cook that you have, right? What are your personal services? Now, there's 2 things you have to think about when you think about services. When you offer a service, is it I coach you or I do everything for you? You see what I mean? One is I can coach you and you do it on your own, or at the same time, I do everything for you as a service, and that's why you're paying me. Okay, so as a service, think of those 2 things. I teach you how to fish and you are fishing yourself, or do I do the fishing for you as a service? So if you want to think about a marketing company, a marketing coach can teach another person how to do their own SEO, Facebook marketing, or you can pay a social media consultant to do all of that for you. So think about it that way. What do you want to do when you offer a service? Do you want to teach someone? Do you want to do everything for them? You can do both at the same time. So these are, I'm going to just recap really quickly before we go on to the next thing. 5 different ways you can get paid as a speaker. You can become a full-time, part-time speaker where you do everything yourself. You can be a salary-based speaker where you can join into an organization. They pay you a salary of $50,000 and say, go speak at X, Y, and Z. You can be a trainer. You just train. That's what I like to do. Like you teach, you can have your products, and then you can have your coaching and your personalized services. I really want to quickly talk about some the number one secret to becoming a paid speaker. Right now, if you're an expert, you're a consultant, you're an author, if you're missing this piece, you definitely have to think about it. When I was a dancer, I used to be a hip hop dancer, a choreographer. People would see me dance. People will hear me talk about my dancing. I'll even show them online right now. Boom, everything that I'm doing. And you know I'm a dancer. As a speaker, do people know that you're speaking? Okay. And the number one secret is this. If you want to become a bookable speaker, you have to make this a lifestyle. When I was a dancer, that was my lifestyle. As a speaker now, that is my lifestyle. When people think about me, they know that I speak. They know that I teach about speaking. They can hear me speak. They can see my posting on social media that I am speaking. So if you think about your LinkedIn right now or your title page, okay? In your title, does it say speaker? If it does not say speaker, how do people know that you speak? If I did not tell people that I'm a choreographer, would people hire me as a choreographer? First, they wouldn't even have a clue, but if you just put in keynote speaker, they will know that you're a speaker. So on your LinkedIn, does it say speaker? Do you tell people, or do people online see that you're speaking? You can post an image of yourself teaching a workshop. You can post and say, hey, does anyone know of any speaking engagements coming up? I speak on X, Y, and Z. So people have to hear about you speaking. People have to see you speak. People have to just know when they think about your name that you're a speaker. So think of this as a lifestyle change. If you want to become a public speaker, if you want to land your speaking engagements, you have to live it as a lifestyle. I just want to talk now about the four main mistakes that people make in becoming a bookable speaker. And then after that, I want you guys to do some exercises with me. And if you're liking this material right now, let me know in the comments, press some likes. I usually like to make this interactive. So let me know if you have any comments or questions as we're going on live now. If you're watching the replay, please feel free to email me at kit@bostonspeaks.com. I give out my personal number every single time, 857-753-8211. Feel free to text me too. I text right back. I try to be on top of it, but feel free to email me. So here are the four mistakes that people make when they become a speaker. Number one is they don't have consistency. So think about it. If you were learning how to play the guitar, can you play the guitar once a month and be really good at it? No, you cannot. You have to find that consistency because you have to keep on building your skills. As a speaker, how consistent are you in looking for speaking engagements? How consistent are you in landing workshops? How consistent are you in making phone calls and say, hey, I speak on this? How consistent are you? Really, if you think about it this week, how much time did you put into your speaking business? If you want to play the guitar better, you cannot spend only 30 minutes on it for a year and think people are going to be like, okay, come and play at our concert. No, same thing with speaking. How consistent are you? That's the mistake that most people make. They are not consistent. They might do it for a week, and then week 2 and week 3, they fall down the line and they fall off. The second mistake that people make is they have no accountability. The difference between consistency and accountability is sometimes I'm even guilty of this. At my house, I have a Spanish notebook. I was doing it for once every single day, but then I kept myself going. I was consistent at it. But over time, over 2 months, over 3 months, I had no one else to push me and say, Kit, do something with your Spanish. Right? Do you have accountability? If you want to become a speaker, do you have someone else to push you and say, hey, keep on going, keep on going? So how can you build in accountability? You can form a mastermind group. If you have not heard of a mastermind group yet, so a mastermind group is, Napoleon Hill came up with this concept. He said, find 4 other 5 or whatever, find a group of people that you trust and respect. They could be friends, they could be coworkers, but you guys should meet every week, every bi-weekly, so you guys can push each other to work harder next week. So I'm in a bunch of mastermind groups, and this is what we do. Every single week we would meet, and we would, for the first 5 minutes, share our highs and lows. After that, one person would get the hot seat, and we would drill down this person and say, what do you need to do, or what kind of challenges do you have? And then at the end, for the last 10 minutes, we would say, here's what we want to accomplish for the next meeting. And this is built accountability so that it keeps pushing us. Or I also have, one of my good friends, sometimes we text back and forth and say, are you doing this? Are you doing that? So how can you find accountability to boost your consistency? The third way that people make in becoming a speaker, the third mistake, is that they don't have a system. If you want to learn how to play the guitar, you can have consistency, you have accountability, you even have your guitar, and you can learn it by yourself, but it's going to take decades to learn how to play the guitar, right? You can go on YouTube, you can buy a guitar book. How can you find a system? People have done all of this before. You are not the first person to do this. I'm sorry, but usually you are not the first person. So if you want to become a speaker, you can go on. Look, one person, he messaged me on Facebook one day. He said, Kit, I want to become a speaker. What do I need to do? And the first question I asked him was, well, how do you like to learn? And he said, give me everything. And then I suggested, you can go to the library, right? Even you can just go to the library and get all the books that you want on learning how to get paid to speak. You can go on YouTube all day long and get stuck in that world. You can go on Google and look up articles all day long. So find 1, 2 ways, not all of them, a few ways that you can to learn. Either you can read, either you can digest information on video. Pick one of them and just really get into it. Find that system that you need, whether if it's through a coach, whether it's through an online program, a book. It's like a cookbook. People have done these recipes before. Just follow the recipes. And here's the thing. You are doing your own experiment as a speaker as you go. You might change a few recipes here and there. You might add more salt. You might not even add the salt if you don't want to. So find a cookbook, follow that recipe. You don't have to follow it exactly, but you can change it along the way. But it's going to be hard to cook something if you don't have a cookbook and you're just trying to make your own recipe along the way. Now, it can come up really good or it can come up really bad, but if you have a cookbook to follow, at least you have guidelines too. So number one, the first mistake was you have no consistency. Number two is you don't have accountability. Number three, you don't have a system. Here's the fourth one. You probably don't have a mentor. That's the mistake that most people make. Now, if I wanted to become a better cook, what if I was shadowing under, what's that guy's name? Gordon Ramsay, the Hell Kitchen guy. If he was my mentor, I'm going to say, Gordon, teach me how to cook. And he's going to say, Kit, I'm going to teach you how to cook the perfect egg. I'm going to say, wow, show me your ways. Same thing with a speaker or coach. People have done this already. They can walk you through this system. They can give you feedback. The good thing about, let's say, if you hire a fitness coach, the difference between hiring a coach and doing it by yourself, the fitness coach, observational feedback, same thing. That's a thing with any coach. They can give you feedback and they can see into what you're doing good, what you're doing bad, and they can give you pointers along the way. Most importantly, if you find a mentor, it's not about the information that they give you, relationships that they can connect you with. So for example, if I wanted to become a cook and Gordon Ramsay was my mentor, he knows a lot of people and he can introduce me to a lot of different chefs, a lot of different restaurants, a lot of different event planners. And I would get my door in faster if I was trying to do it myself. So, okay, find a mentor. So some people ask, well, how do you find a mentor? It's as easily as asking. I was at this keynote talk one day, and this guy, he's this $1 billion, he's a CEO of a tech company, and he was talking about how to act, speak, and walk like a CEO. At the end of that presentation, and I said to myself, man, I don't think he's going to have lunch with me. But I went up to him and I said, hey, I love what you're talking about. I know XYZ points because it really resonated with me. And I said, can I take you out to coffee? And immediately he said, come on, let's book something on the calendar. And so we met over a few weeks and now we became good friends. So find a mentor. What event, I'm going to go on to the next topic. Okay, here are the into your life, into any topic. I guarantee you, you will find success faster than you are doing it yourself. Let's talk about, since we have a few minutes left, I do want to open this up to Q&A. What event organizers are looking for when they hire speakers? If you were an event organizer, what would you be looking for if I came to you as a speaker? First, think about the conference or the type of event that you're hosting. Let's say we are hosting a leadership conference, okay? If you're watching this right now, if you're watching this on the replay, you are the event organizer right now. I want you to think about it. If you were organizing a leadership conference, what would you be doing to look for speakers? Number one, you would ask friends, you would ask your coworkers, oh, do you know anyone that speaks on leadership? Here's the thing. You see the key word that you just used? Do you know anyone that speaks on leadership? So that's number one key. Most people fail too is because as speakers, you don't know what you focus on. And as an event organizer, you don't know too much of the topic about what the leadership person is talking about. As an event organizer, all I know is I need a leadership speaker. So that's a keynote speaker. Use your keywords. So I might be looking and asking friends, okay, do you know a leadership speaker? Next, I would probably go on Google. I would look up leadership speakers in Boston, in my local community. Because depending on my budget, I don't want to spend and hire the best keynote speaker in the world that's above my budget. But I might be looking for a really good keynote speaker who might travel within distance. So the keyword is really important, and knowing how to establish yourself as an iconic speaker in your field. So if you were an event organizer, you have to think about it from their perspective. They don't know too much about what you do. So if you call yourself the life-changing, transformational XYZ leadership speaker, they don't know how to type in your funky keyword name. They will just type in leadership speaker. So do you know how to get found on Google, or the people know how to talk about you and relate back to your topic? I speak on communication and I speak on public speaking. I just want you at the end of the day and say, Kit speaks on communication. He speaks on public speaking. I'm not going to say my title is Master Storytelling Listening Guy, okay? Unless you're Tony Robbins, you can have a funky name like that, or if you want to build your brand. But all I am saying is have something that is very memorable and something that can be found easily. So if you were to tell a friend about who I was, what would you tell them? Oh, Kit, the communication public speaking guy. That's all I want you to tell a friend. You don't even have to remember my name. Just say topic, this Chinese guy, right? Same thing with you. The people know how to relate your topic to you. At the end of the day, they don't know too much about your information. They're not going to go on Google and put in all these funky keywords. They have to know how to find you. So think about it from an event organizer's point of view. What's the easiest way to brand yourself and to position yourself as an expert? Okay, here we go. Here is the homework of the day for you. After this, I'm going to bring it out to the Q&A. So I want to talk about your blueprint really quickly. If you have a piece of paper, bring it out now. If you are on your smartphone, take down notes. If you don't have notes, do this mentally. So your blueprint is this. On the top of your paper, I want you to write this down. Number one, and I want you to answer that question. If you were on Oprah right now and Oprah said, hey, you're the number one at what? Do you know what you would be putting in? Now, if some of you are thinking, I don't want to be the number one in anything. I'm not saying be cocky or be selfish. I'm just saying, do you know how you can make an impact in people's life? How can you make an impact in people's life if they don't know how that you can help them, right? Same thing. If I'm going to a McDonald's, I want fast food. If I want Italian food, I'm going to go to Italian place. Do they know how to look for you? What is your number one? Do that right now. Now, if you have 5 or 4 different topics, That's absolutely okay. If you are just starting out, you might have 3 or 4 or 5 topics because you're thinking, oh, I want to speak on relationships. I want to speak on sales. I want to speak on XYZ, real estate. That's absolutely okay. But at the end of the day, if you think of any business out there, you know they are known for only 1 or 2 things. But at the beginning, you're still searching, which is absolutely okay. But if you know your thing right now, write that down, or just write down the topics that you want to be known as. So for me, I would say I want to be known as the public speaking communication guy. Right? You don't care too much about my topic. I just want to be known public speaking communication. Next, I want you to draw 3 lines. So number 1 is the thing that you want to be known for if you want to position yourself as an expert, as that leader in your field. The next one is the category of sales. And I want you to draw 3 circles. These are your programs and these are your services that you will be selling and that people can buy. So for example, if you were a speaker, it could be this. This is your number 1, your speech, okay? Your speech name could be Knowing How to Listen. Knowing How to Listen, that's the title of your program, and here's what you will learn from my program. But as a speaker, this is actually what you're selling. You're selling your speaking program. Now, if you want to expand it, you can have your number 1 speaking program, your number 2 speaking program, your number 3 speaking program, but that could be just it by itself. You don't have to sell anything else. You can just sell your speaking program. So if you were to think about this from, let's say McDonald's, we all know McDonald's, and I know it's fast food, we're trying to be more healthy, but we all know McDonald's. Their number 1 would be French fries, okay? They can also have McNuggets. They can also have burgers. Now they can have a different product. It could be Happy Meals, okay? Next, whatever, breakfast, pancakes. So they know what they are selling. Do you know what you're selling? So for example, if I were to fill this out, I'm going to give you mine. As a public speaking and communication guy, I am selling one-on-one coaching. I am selling my speaking programs. I am selling my workshops. I am selling my workshops and I am selling my corporate training. So I have, let's say 3 things: individual coaching, my speaking programs, and my workshops for the general public or corporations. That is my sales. Again, if you were to start a restaurant, would people walk into your restaurant and not know what to buy? Right? You would not open a restaurant like that. So after you have your sales, so this is your homework. And you know how this all goes back to relating to your topic. This is why it's so important, because what you offer, it goes back to that number 1 something. So even if you want to talk about real estate, do one just for real estate. If you want to talk about relationship, do one just for relationship. But that's so key to hook into what you're known as. So right now, you should have a few things. What's your number 1? What kind of sales can you make? So really take 1 or 2 seconds to put that in. Are you selling your coaching? Are you selling your workshops? Are you selling your online courses? Now, again, you don't have to have 3. You can have 10. You can have 1. It's easier to start out with a few than a bunch, okay? So other examples is you can have your products. You can have your books. You can have your DVDs. You can have your online programs. Put all your products down. Next, the next level, I want you to draw even more lines. I hope you guys can see my chicken scratch. Next level is your marketing. Okay, you have sales, you have marketing. I'm just going to relate this to McDonald's again. McDonald's is known as fast food. They sell French fries. Now, how will people find out about them? They can just have a store, right? People can walk in. They can have ads online. So for example, I'm going to do my example right now. I want to be known as the number 1 public speaking communication guy, and I want to offer my coaching services. What am I offering to you right now? I am offering a free YouTube live workshop video, whatever you want to call it. And right now, if I have 50 people, 7 people, however amount of people that's tuning in, that's my marketing. Okay, I can write, for example, webinar. I'm linking my coaching service to my webinar. So if I do this webinar and I have 50 people tune in, today on a Tuesday at 1 p.m., I can do it again next week and have another 50 people. Now, here's the thing. If you have 50 people with you on the webinar, that depends on your sales skills. Do you know how to CTS, okay, convert to sales? You're 50 people into a coaching client. But first, you have to know something called BIS. Do you know how to put butts in seats? That's what marketing is. Do you know how to put BIS into your workshops, BIS into your webinars, BIS into reading your books, downloading your ebooks? You first have to know how to do marketing. And you see how all of this relates to your number one focus? If you don't have a focus, well, what's your webinar going to be about? If you don't have your focus, what's your blog going to be about? If you don't have a focus, what are you going to be telling people? That's why it all relates to your number one focus. Now, that's the hardest and easiest part of becoming a speaker. You can just choose a topic and spend the next year on doing this, or you might spend the next year in la la land going, I'm going to speak on this. I'm going to speak on that. I'm going to speak on that. But that's why you don't want to make those mistakes. You want to find consistency in what you're doing. You want to find accountability in your topic. You want to find a system, and you want to find a mentor to keep on pushing you forward. So this is a little blueprint this is a very simple blueprint. This is my business plan. Look, I want to teach about communication. If I want to offer my coaching services, I just have to do 10 of these webinars. How many people can I CTS, convert to sales for my coaching services? So if I said now, okay, if you are interested in working with me privately to learn how to become a paid speaker, I do a monthly program. It's as easy as me saying that, right? So do you know how to not also get bombarded? That's where a lot of people fail, because marketing is huge. You can do a webinar, you can do an ebook, you can do Facebook ads, you can do workshops, you can do X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, do you have a system that you can do this on a weekly and monthly basis? McDonald's does the same thing every single day. They have a system for their business. I will have a system for my business. I used to, when I first started out, I would teach 3 to 4 workshops every single month. I would teach it on public speaking, communication skills, knowing how to get booked as a speaker. And here's the thing, I would do it again next month, and next month, and next month. And because I was doing this so often, it became a system. I knew what people wanted. I knew how to get the emails. I know how to talk to them. Or here's the thing, do you have a system of, say, I'm going to call 10 clients every single day, and I'm going to do this day in and day out, just 10 people? Because if you have a system, you can improve on it. If you don't have a system, how can you improve on something? You're just going blindly. So this is a blueprint that you can use. I'm going to just recap a little bit. Put in your number one main topic. That's who you want to be known for. How do you want to position yourself? What topic? Next is your sales. What products, what services are you offering so people know how to buy from you? Next, when you have products, do you know how people are finding it? Do you know how people are seeing it? Because if they don't, look, if you did not hear from me that I do coaching, you will not say, Kit. You might have an idea, but you'll say, what does Kit offer, right? You don't know what I offer. How would you know if people don't tell you? So you have to, it's your responsibility to tell people what you offer. What we just talked about today is you being a full-time and part-time speaker. Now, again, if you were a salary-based speaker, the organization would cover all of this. They would cover their marketing. They would cover their sales. You just have to go and speak. So right now, I want to ask if you guys have any questions. Please feel free to type in the chat. I want to answer any questions. But I have to start up with this. I was doing a panel last time, and a person asked this question. Speaker sheet. I will talk about that. So actually, Kit, I love the name Kit. It's good to see you on live. So a speaker sheet is actually your speaking resume. You know how you have to land a job when you were in high school and college? You had to give a resume. So go on Google and just type in speaker one sheet. That is actually your speaker resume. Now, if you go on Google, they have some fancy pants speaker one sheets. All you have to do, you just have to make one now. So basically, it's your title, the programs that you offer, any testimonials, who are you known as, a picture. It's basically your resume as a speaker. There's a lot of templates that you can use, that you can just actually find on Google. But most people get scared because they see other people's speaker sheet and they're like, wow, this is amazing. When you were in high school, how good was a resume? It was not as good as it is now, right? So when you start your speaker one sheet, it does not have to look like, wow, I've worked with so many organizations before, but you have to start somewhere. So start making your speaker one sheet. Because when you want to pitch people, let's say I'm hosting an event. If you give me your speaker one sheet, wow, I'm going to say this person they have their resume down, they know what they're doing, here's their programs. It's basically your advertising sheet. So just put that into Google. So this one person asked, I was doing a panel, and he said, well, Kit, you've been doing stuff before. What if you were to wake up tomorrow and you lose all of your credibility, you lose everything else, and you wanted to start becoming a speaker? What would you do? My answer is this: how obsessed are you, and what's your mindset like in becoming a speaker? If I was to lose all credibility, I was to start over in a different country tomorrow, I would be asking myself, how obsessed am I with wanting to do X, Y, and Z? Because your mindset will set everything else on fire. Now, you watch one webinar, right? If you are obsessed about being a speaker, you will go to the library, you will get 10 books, you will go to YouTube, you'll watch 10 documentaries, you will find a mentor, right? How obsessed are you in becoming a speaker? You are tuning into this right now, and if you're probably still listening to this, this is important to you. Don't let it go. Become more obsessed into it. Find out the books. Find out whatever you need. Just a little bit about myself. I have been having cat issues at home. I have 3 cats. They can never be in the same room. We adopted them 6 months ago. I got at least 20 different cat books. I watched 10 documentaries. I was obsessed. I wanted to really figure out how to get the cats in the right place. But we just called a cat consultant 2 weeks ago. And she gave us this 8-week plan of how to get our cats in the same room. And I loved it. We're on this 8-week plan now. So again, if you want to become a speaker, you can look up all the books. You can look up all the documentaries too. But I have to say, if you really need some help, go call someone who knows what they're doing. Go find a mentor. If you want, I would love to help you out and to boost your speaking career. So Kathleen, you said, are there any volunteering opportunities to help with Boston Speaks events and shadow other speakers and you? Kathleen, you can message me. We have like this professional development week in the Boston Speaks series that I'm always looking for volunteers. I'm always looking for people who I can train and teach to pitch myself, so you guys can learn the ropes of how I do corporations and how I get into speaking engagements, because this is what I wanted to learn. So just feel free to email me too if you want to help out. But again, a lot of people have asked before, it's really how determined that you are, how much time you have to spend on this, but really you have to be obsessed with becoming a speaker. Not writing a book, becoming a speaker. Not getting famous on YouTube, becoming a speaker. We can get drowned into so many different things, even on social media, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat. You can get drowned in so many different things. Do you know how to focus in becoming a speaker? You don't have to have 10 billion people following you on YouTube to become a paid speaker. You don't. Did I get the wipes that you... Hey, that's a good comment. So if you guys have any other questions, let me know in the comment below. I just want to open this up to Q&A right now. If you have any questions, or if you have any thoughts about becoming a speaker, I hope that I gave you some valuable information today about knowing how to get into the speaking world more, because when I first started, I had no clue about everything I just talked about. I did not know how to go into I wanted to go into corporations. I'm like, how do you get into a corporate environment? How do you talk to these people? How do you get booked and paid to speak? Do I work with graphic recorders? What do you mean by that, Kit? I do hire freelancers. to do some, I do the website myself. I do all the graphic design myself, but easily I would hire someone else if I don't like to do it. I just like doing the business side of things. But I would say if you do have the money, find someone that you can trust. Ask them to do the graphics for you if you are not good at doing the graphics. If you are not good at building a website, find someone else. So a person who draws on large paper while you speak to catch major points visual. Oh, I love that. I should have someone to do that. I could do that. I should do that myself. Mind mapping and all out. But I have not worked with someone who draws out all of the ideas visually. I think that is something that is very useful in meetings. So Kathleen, one of the things that you worry about is that you might be too urban in corporate environments. When you say you're too urban, I'm gonna challenge you in this. Do you know any other person that has an urban feel and they are killing it as a speaker? You might be able to name a few. At the end of the day, don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself if you want to speak to others. The most important thing of why people hire you, because it's you. If you don't want to be too urban in corporate environments, they don't want you anyways, right? Don't snoop down to their level because you think that will get you in the door. Because at the end of the day, if you cannot speak what's on your mind, if you cannot express yourself, if you don't feel safe making mistakes, it would be a job. That's why most people quit their jobs, because they cannot feel like they are themselves. They cannot feel like they can speak up. They cannot feel like they can give their creativity. So don't worry about being too urban in corporate environments. They will hire you because they like your vibe. You have heard of this before probably. Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? I got that on Facebook. I tell people that all the time. But your vibe attracts your tribe. Now, some people, they might not want to work with me because they're like, who's this young guy talking about communication skills? Well, some do and some don't. At the end of the day, do you want to work with these people who don't want to work with you in the first place, right? So don't go down to their level. Just do you know what makes you special. Are there any other questions before we close it off for this hour? I hope that you've gained a lot of information today. So please subscribe to our Boston Speaks YouTube channel. I'm on a mission to really help you improve your communication, your speaking skills, knowing how to get booked and paid to speak. We will have more videos like this. So if you have any other questions, feel free to email me at kit@bostonspeaks.com. If you guys have, I'm going to stick on for maybe 1 or 2 more minutes if you guys have any questions. But thank you for taking your time to tune in today. I just want to say that it's not easy becoming a speaker, but it's also not impossible. So I've been saying this quote, and I want to leave you guys with this quote. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So get started today if you want to become one of the best speakers. If you want a six-pack, you can't start next year. You have to start today. So I just want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for this session today. If you have any other information, subscribe to this channel for more good stuff like this. I'll see you all later. Have a good Tuesday.